sweater.
Well, that's true, it might be refreshing.
There's not enough water in there.
Uh-oh.
Good point.
All good. Sorry. Okay, I'd like to call to order our June 17th park board meeting. James, if you could have a quick roll call.
Jose.
Here.
Robin.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Dan.
Here.
Kristen.
Here.
Chuck.
Present. And if we can ask everyone, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for the nation under God, indivisible. Mark, do we have any electronic public input?
We did not.
If anyone is here for public input, you can approach the podium. No? That was easy to. Next we have administrative matters, approval of park board minutes from May 20th.
Make a motion to approve, sorry, I have to say.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Jose.
Yes.
Robin.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. Discussion, so, next is confirmation of vouchers 25-6A through 25-6D. Hopefully everybody's looked through them. Nothing looks out of the ordinary from usual.
I'll approve the vouchers.
Second.
Roll call, please, James.
Jose.
Yes.
Robin.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. And finally, or next, rather, on to reports, the June park board report on March.
Yeah, you have the report that we submitted for that. My main one that I wanted to bring up was the, need for next probably study session coming up here, in July to start talking about capital improvement kind of priorities, where we're at, following the capital improvement meetings, planning meetings that we had with HWC for Centennial, and then to get ready for eventually for, funding mechanisms and determining what that is and having those kind of earmarked as a priority. So, wanted to see, I'm gonna probably throw out there, I think Tuesdays are usually the day of the week that are typically good for us. The 2nd of July, we had been meeting the first Tuesday of every month. I'm sorry, it's the 1st of July. I don't know if with that being a holiday week, I didn't want to go there if you happen to know, but, if not, I'll circulate something via email. You can just reply to that here in the next few days, and then we'll get that posted once we decide on something. So that'll be coming out here shortly. And then we'll also have an updated kind of list of projects that we've been kind of committed to already, that are already funded, and then kind of other ones that we've seen at the staff level or that you guys have mentioned in past meetings about some of the things. Obviously, it's not all inclusive. We need to add something, we can add it. But you'll have a pretty good idea of hopefully then we can shift things around. And then we'll have to have a conversation with Wendy's office about where they anticipate the potential funding levels to be able to do what we're hoping to be able to do. So, but that'll be the main thing that we'll have coming up. But other than that, unless you have any questions on the report that we submitted. So.
Has the council or Wendy have any idea what the new legislation is gonna cost? Or the estimate?
The last I heard is between 700,000 and 800,000 in the first year, added an additional 700 the second year, and another 1.6 the third year.
Got it. Thanks for the great news.
I feel like
Shouldn't have asked.
That's for March. Mr. Gardner, do we have anything from town council at this point?
I guess the only thing I'll mention is that we did approve the Sustainability Committee format last night from the council standpoint. And we'll be asking the school board, school town of Munster to review that and accept that at their next council or their next board meeting. And also the Chamber of Commerce is also another aspect of that sustainability committee. So it was passed by the council last night, and then we'll take it on and we'll continue to work through it.
Wendy?
I just want to add, in the next news you can use, that's what the council president's article is going to have a lot more information about the committee and what it's doing, and just a nice summary for those of you that don't want to read the resolution.
Thank you, Wendy.
So read your news you can use.
I do.
I'll send you a preview of that.
Okay. Nothing else from me, right?
Items for discussion, Centennial Park Pro Shop and Cart HVAC agreement.
Yeah, we typically have preventive maintenance agreements on all of our buildings where we have the heating, vent, air conditioning, units. And with the new golf buildings, we wanted to get out there. Arctic, Engineering Company Incorporated had been servicing our clubhouse buildings for us and, has submitted a price as a not to exceed for the year to do a full-time service out there at the two new buildings of $2,228. Since this is an ongoing repetitive maintenance cost, we do need to have you at the board level approve it. So we're bringing it to you with a recommendation to approve that preventive maintenance agreement for the next, it's actually from June 1 of this year through May 31st of next year.
Mark, I think this looks good. There's one part in there where it says a labor rate is subject to change without written notice. Is there any concern there about like it like drastic, like should we say like, hey, don't change it more than?
Yeah, no, they'll hold their price on this for the service. That really only applies if there's additional call outs on anything that we would need. And we kind of don't like that. So if they usually share that with us, that will be kept in mind the next time any kind of renewals or other ideas come about. So we want to make sure that is known, but typically, a lot of times they'll put that in there because especially for these things that straddle a year, but they will hold their price for, this proposal is what we have there. It's typically just that extra that we would have. If needed. And with our new facilities there, we're hoping that there's no extra going to be needed out there.
And that's for all of our buildings?
This is strictly just for the golf buildings. We already have ones in play for our maintenance at Centennial, the maintenance building at Public Works, and the pool buildings. So those are ones that we also already have.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Roll call, James.
Jose,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. Next we have, and we've done this before, is the Pause in the Park event. They're asking for their beer garden again, so we do need to.
Yeah, this is Humane Indiana. They already have a permit for the park that day. This is the third year in a row that they've asked for this. They actually work with Three Floyds Brewery in town, and they run the beer garden aspect for them. Because it's a beer garden, you need your board approval to, for that, because you don't allow it normally out there. They did expand the hours this year. It's been successful for them the first 2 years. If you remember right, it was a very early beer garden. I think it started at 10 a.m. one of the first 2 years. It was like over by like 2. It's been successful for them. I do recommend, and they understand, we do typically would ask them, obviously, as part of the approval, that they would supply a certificate of insurance, naming the town as additional insured. They follow the rules that state excise requires, which is part of the permit process that they have to follow. They arrange the boundaries. Again, that's another one that it has to have a 21 and older serving area. That's part of that same excise requirements. We ask that there be no glass containers used, which is always a good thing in any of our parks. They would have to provide security for the beer garden and any other requirements if you need any others to be necessary. So we do recommend that approval for them, and if there was something in addition that you want to add, we could add that to motion for consideration.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
They haven't had any problems, so,
No, none at all.
so far so good.
They've been really good partners, honestly, for that event out there.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call, James?
Jose,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. The big item is the management services for our golf course.
So I put together,
Draft.
yeah, I put together a draft of an RFP for the golf course management services, which would begin for April 1st of 2026. But this is for your review. If you like what you see, we can put it out there and kind of see what we get coming back. Or if there's something we need to add or subtract from this RFP, we could do that as well. I think it's pretty generic. We cover a lot of the information, but thinking, and kind of one of the expectations is we may get somebody who's not the immediate areas. We wanted to kind of cover, hey, here's what Munster is. So there's a lot of information like that in there as well. We did, after our previous discussions, we did remove concessions. So that'll be a separate one coming later. I have that drafted, but there's not as importance to get that dealt with as quick as this, because typically the golf course will offer a special every fall to sign up for next year and get the rest of this year for free as a member rate. And obviously, if we potentially have a change, we don't want that to be the case. So any renewals, we need to, have that pushed off to the season, to the operator, whoever it would be. If it ends up being the same one, that's great too, but then we have that flexibility for us to go through that process.
In terms of the concessions, you put in here for special events.
So they do run the beer garden because they end up having the liquor license for the golf course, so they end up controlling that for all of Centennial Park. So we do require them, whenever we have concerts, any July 3rd, any of the other big events that we have a beer garden out in the park, we do deflect to them to say, hey, you guys have the staff, you have the people already licensed for handling that liquor, you come and do it, because the liquor license actually applies to the entire property of Centennial Park, so it falls under their realm, and it's a way for them to make some additional dollars towards helping operate, since that's a lot of those events, it's something that's been desired out there for us.
Do you think you'll get interest more or less by taking away concessions? And how is that gonna affect, like, we had talked, you come there, you play golf, and now I wanna get concessions, and it's two separate things.
Well, concessions inside, I think the small concessions at the pro shop itself will be part of the golf.
Well, okay.
The concessions that we would separate would be at the pool and out at Community Park. That would be separate. So anything at Centennial, yeah, because
It's gotta stay.
that was the difficult part of operating a separate concessionaire inside the same building with a separate golf management. I don't think that would, it could be worked out. It probably could be, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think it actually helps them with like outings and stuff. If they are able to keep people there longer and entice them to, eat, drink, be merry longer, then they have the potential to bring in more revenue towards operating the actual course and operations costs.
Will the option be given to whoever wins the bid that they could be a
I think what,
if they wanted to, and community?
I think that opportunity is there for, because when that RFP goes out, they can just put in for that as well at that same time. And you guys, Dan, if you remember back, well, I think the first time that this was put out, the golf management was approved at one meeting, then very next meeting, they added on the concessions. And I have a feeling that was kind of the case, like, they're like, hey, well, we can do that, we're set up for it. Keep in mind, though, they're set up for, when they were set up for it before, they had a whole banquet operations.
Yeah.
And the chef was really
Right.
the main person in charge of that. That's why I think we did it at that point. But I couldn't find anything that definitely said that 100%. I just think that when it was too odd that it's one meeting and literally, and that's when the board was meeting twice a month. It was like 2 weeks later that it got approved. So,
Because we didn't, because the
softball and baseball weren't sure, they wanted to do it, then they didn't want to do it, then we're like, well, we need someone to do it, and we didn't want to, the parks department didn't want to do it, so they said, well, they heard it at the meetings that we could do it. I don't know if it necessarily works out so well, but
Well, yeah, but yeah, that's whenever the chef was kind of doing it.
well, now you got Caleb running back and forth from a golf course to a baseball diamond, so
Which is, yeah, I think he'd do better. 'cause
he's a great golfer.
He is a good golfer.
Not to say that he can't turn out.
He's a good golfer.
Kick my butt. All right, so I'll make a motion, I mean, if you want a motion then to submit this and put this out and advertise this,
Yeah, I think so, just to authorize it, and we can start to share it, publish it.
make me sound smart with the motion and I've got to authorize it. We're gonna advertise it.
Authorize the.
Authorize the director to advertise for the
Yeah,
RFP for the golf,
put a
Management.
notice, yeah,
Services.
for our.
exactly what you said.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call.
Well, I think for the discussion part of this then. Because now we got a motion and a second. Now, I guess. I think the park board really needs to review and look at other golf courses. 9-hole golf courses especially, on how is there additional earned income opportunities for this golf course? Is it through a teaching academy? Is it through, and again, I don't know if you can specifically say that in this. You did say, describe any marketing or program initiatives that town intend to increase play and revenue, but the course and the amount of money that the town is subsidizing the golf course is quite a bit. And again, there's reason for that. You know, you had to maintain the landfill in perpetuity anyhow, so there was gonna be ongoing expenses down there. But are we maximizing the amount of lessons, programs, events, whatever else? And again, we are challenged because it's a 9-hole golf course too. You know, it's not an 18-hole golf course. We don't have a big, banquet hall now or concessions, area and things like that. But I do think there has, when you review these things, or when there has to be really that ask of these proposals, that we really look at what's happening. We do bond issues, and we give, the bond issues go back to the maintenance of the golf course. And we have to really find some ways to be creative, and I think, again, we want the course is looking a lot better now than what it did, 10 years ago when, before Billy Casper or Indigo or whatever, how they changed the name. I think it's, it's good, but there's gotta be, is there another step that we can go with this? And I would just ask that when we do this, I did reach out to Tim Nugent, the other day, and he gave some names of people around here, and I'll pass them along to Mark. Nugent's down in Atlanta now, but his golf course up at Willow Hill was sold to another company, so he's not in the golf course market anymore around here. But again, he had some suggestions, and I think, at least from the board standpoint, if you start looking at golf courses, especially 9-hole, just kind of see what they're doing to be different, and what is our niche in the market, because I do think there is that opportunity to be a niche golf course. Enough people play it right now, just what's that next level that we can go?
Do we look at just the 9-hole niche, or do we look at other courses that are in big park districts, like George Dunn over in Oak Forest?
I think you could do a number of different.
I think you
things.
could do
You know,
both.
you have,
Or you have to.
you have Forest Preserve run courses over in Illinois. You also have the park districts that run, and again, there's big park districts and there's small park districts. I don't know if it's worth, reaching out to local golf courses around here, if there's an opportunity to partner with a, nearby golf courses that, have good reputations. If there's a partnership there that we can work with. Again, the first golf pro here, was kind of a mainstay in this area. Everybody knew the name Matt Meneghetti because he was, all over the place here. And again, I think I think Indigo has done a decent job with what they're doing, but it's just,
Which is why I didn't want Caleb to be managing concession stands at a park, because that's what he has to do, which is takes your focus away from the golf
Yep.
courses, which is what he's good at.
100% correct.
So I get it. I mean, and that's why you have to advantage. I mean, there's not many 9-hole courses around here. I mean, Lost Marsh has got a 9-hole, but that's for beginners. This is a very good golf course. There needs to be a couple tweaks. And it's actually pretty darn difficult compared to a lot of courses in this area. So you just can't go out there and hack it around, otherwise you lose a bunch of golf balls.
Which makes it very unique.
Yes.
We used to lose a lot.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think, I believe the RFP, the way, as I drafted it, I was thinking of something, I mean, maybe it is another course that just comes in and runs it, or it's these. I guess I'm deflecting to these professional golf management companies. You come and tell us, we have the facility, how do we get this to be a successful venture for us? That's what I think we really want to try to get to the point.
And who knows if the current provider is gonna come back, because they liked, I mean, yes, they're being offset with the cash, but they liked it when we had the clubhouse and
Yeah.
the stuff and the opportunities, and that's why.
If there's a perfect way of doing this, but again, all park districts, golf courses are very unique animals. So it's trying to find the right way to make this thing work, and
And not many of them make money.
no, you're 100% correct.
So I'm actually somewhat unclear. So are you asking us as the park board to give our, like, Mark the directive to say we would like this research done? Or are you asking us to do the research? I'm like unclear as to where this lands in terms of, is it trying to ensure we're including that in this proposal? Or
I think-
I'm not sure what.
I think the RFP is well written,
Okay.
and it's there. I think it's when you get the proposals back,
Back.
that is really the hard look at this now, to say,
Okay.
what is this? And I also think it's probably, I'm sure Mark will work with Wendy and probably, give you kind of even a recap of the last, 8 to 10 years of revenues and expenses and how that's worked. And I don't know if there's a better way to try to match the goals with the revenue and everything else. That's more, once you pick somebody, now we have to really get down to, revenues, expenses, and how to make your agreement work. But it has to be good for everybody. It can't be a one-sided agreement that, you don't want to be having a new golf course management company every year because you got the last dime out of them, and they want.
Otherwise, we could do it ourselves, right, Mark?
Well.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still quite unclear though about like, I don't disagree. I'm just asking so I can get like the to-do, like the next step is. So once we get the proposal back, you're wanting us to be able to compare it to other park districts or other potentially partnerships, but where does that information come from? Are we asking Mark to provide that as a comparison, or us to go out and start calling park districts? I'm not sure.
No, I'm not, I guess what I'm asking is, and I'm probably asking Mark more than anybody
Okay,
else,
that's what I
to
was
really
trying
do
to
the
make sure.
research, and when you start looking at these evaluations of the proposals,
I agree.
really be honing in on the additional earned income opportunities,
Sure.
the way of potentially reducing some of the expenses, and what is the relationship between the town and the golf course to try to generate a better bottom line.
For sure.
And part of this, I do envision, and I put it in there, that we'll have a committee to review these and get to that point. So where we can go a little bit more in depth. Likely would have interviews at some point with them and have them come in, and share with us, okay, what do you really, sell us on, what's gonna make our facilities the best that it can be. So we can hopefully have something that's, hopefully we're not losing, spending as much money to operate it as we do, and we have a nice facility that's maintained and, continues to be that way for 4 or 7 years.
So we want bids by August 5th, correct?
I think that's what I put in there, yes. The due date would be August fifth. Yeah, so we would publicize and get the word out now here in the month of June. We would have, I didn't make it a mandate. Last time it was a mandatory tour / site meeting. Realistically, if you get a company out of Texas, I don't think we wanted to get to that aspect of it or something like that. So we'll have an optional, if someone wants to come through and do a tour, we'll give them, take them through the course, the facilities, the maintenance, the equipment that we have, everything else there. The due date would be August fifth for proposals, and then we would start interviews over to probably August and September, and hopefully make some kind of decision there. Get to the final negotiations there early in the fall.
I mean, I would imagine if they're serious, they're gonna come and take a site visit, because the line of questions that come at them, if out with us in the community would ask them specific questions. And if they're just saying, well, Google Earth told me this,
Yeah.
that isn't gonna work, so.
So we'll look at it from that perspective. We'll probably, like I said, we'd probably do, just so we don't have to advertise as a staff, they'd be more almost like a staff meeting, but probably two from the part of the board, maybe a council member or two, obviously some town staff would be involved with that as well, so.
Does the time frame fit with what we just discussed and what Chuck brought up as far as reaching out to others to get some input, the non-bid people after the fifth?
I mean, we can, I think, get that continued input, and that actually helps us frame some questions during interview processes and selection times. But I think when we put this RFP out, I envision sending it out to a lot of the local golf courses. I mean, I don't know, but Lost Marsh, you run a golf course, do you wanna come here and run it? Briar Ridge, would you run? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's someone there who says, hey, we could do this as a secondary course, satellite, maybe, send it out to a bunch, besides not just the management companies that are out there, which there is a decent amount of them, but, and I think it also, the existing management companies trying to have a leg up on people to understand where we really truly at with facilities, grounds, equipment, staff, labor, capabilities. They may really, sharpen their pencil and say, okay, let's look at this. So, so they don't lose it from that perspective. So we can look at it and see what we get into. It would be, and I'll deflect to Nicole, this is a professional management service, so it's not gonna be based upon the lowest bid or anything like that. It's the firm that we choose to decide to work with, that you can choose to negotiate to a final operational agreement with.
We have the motion. And second,
And a second.
so roll call.
Jose?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Yes. We were requesting to purchase a additional vehicle for the park.
Yes, this is there's a proposal, we, are looking, we have, funds available in the 2023 GO bond in our park machinery and equipment. That was, balances of other things that we had purchased, and there was enough balance there to purchase a vehicle. We kind of defined that need. Kevin had brought it to me a while back, and said, let's look at this, let's get some quotes, put them together. He was able to get a few quotes here from 3 different dealers for a Ford Ranger XL. They came in $37,000 to $39,000, and we have the funding there available to do that. This, if you remember earlier this year, we had a promotion from a maintainer 3 to a maintainer 4, and then we added another maintainer 3. So right now, a lot of times they're in the same truck going around. We want to get them split in a smaller vehicle. This won't be a 4x4. It's not going to have a plow on it, so it's a relatively smaller truck but it allows us, it's also a quad cab, also allows them if seasonally, like right now, when we have a couple extra maintenance staff, maybe just taking them out to go lead with, dropping people off, and having that capability gives us some flexibility to do that. So we are bringing this to you with a recommendation to approve this additional vehicle from Paul Heron Ford at a not to exceed cost of $37,764.15.
Might still good.
I was gonna ask if this gets approved, are there other equipments or priorities that we're gonna deprioritize from this bond?
No, this is, because of the equipment and of other, items that we've already purchased, we've met those purchases already. Typically, equipment and vehicles, or machinery and equipment we'll buy right away, or, those are usually pretty fixed and pretty known needs. So we'll get them in there and right away. So the fact that there's a balance there of that much to be able to cover that cost is great. That allows us the flexibility to say, hey, grow with this at that time to be able to get that, so, yeah. Assuming in the future, I don't know, you know the future as much as I do, where we go with that, but the fact of right now, this is a need, it will make us, I think, more efficient in the maintenance division, and, from that perspective, we see it as a win for us.
Make a motion to approve the, truck from Paul Herring Ford for $37,764.15.
I'll second.
Roll call, Jim?
Jose,
Yes.
Rob, yes.
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. There's not anything else. We are ready to adjourn to our next meeting on July 15th.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Roll call.
We get our rhythm.
So I will.
It's just our, the last eye. And everyone that wants to take